All right. Here we are. Another edition of From the Margins with James Levon and David Washington. We are back. Hello, Jimmy.
Hello, how is everybody doing?
Let's hope everyone's doing good because it is a beautiful Thursday afternoon here in sunny Florida. And I don't know if it could get any better. I had the door open to my apartment for most of the day and just getting that fresh air in here feels so good. I'm sure my sinuses will be crazy later on this evening. But hey, it is what it is.
Hey, you have to enjoy life because lately there's a lot of lemonades coming down, and we have to enjoy the lemonade because for the next 4 years we're going to be drinking a lot of lemonade. So
Um,
let's get that. It is interesting. Weather's changing here. It's starting to be nice. It is going to be an interesting next of 2 or 3 months, but we will see. But it is
yes.
it is going to be interesting. So this week and locally here we had some videos, or not videos, I say live TV through Orange TV of the meeting in about water management in Orange County. And it was interesting from what I hear. Even the people who were in charge did not know who could testify and who couldn't. And my only question was, don't every resident have a right to express themselves in your hearings? Maybe it's just me, but I don't care if they're experts or not. But if somebody wants to say, I want to address my county commissioners about an issue, that is in the charter their perfect right. So that confused me a little bit. But uh, if I had $1 for every facial expression I saw there during that meeting, I would be a billionaire. Not a millionaire, but a billionaire. But that's a story for another day. And it's going to be interesting to see how other things develop. Right now, that's in our local level. I understand that there was some people pushing back in the city of Orlando, but there's good news in the city of Orlando. The posting seems to be coming out and starting to take shape. And I think the different groups are starting to agree halfway there as to how it should look. So that looks positive. But the big news this week, the huge news this week, was that Ana Escamante made it official. She announced her candidacy for mayor of the city of Orlando. So, with that in mind, she's the first to announce. But
Yes. Yes.
I,
It is official.
I keep
She is the. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I hear rumors that other people want to come in, but she's there. And it's going to be interesting because I'll say it publicly right today. Anna, you have my full support in anything in shape and manner I can help you. I've known you since you were in UCF on the Young Democrats chair. You have been a great leader and a great inspiration for the youth of this area. And it's time that we pass the baton to the younger people. And I mean this seriously. We all farce need to get out and let you people take control of everything. And just like we did, screw up and make mistakes and learn from your mistakes because nobody's perfect. So, yes, but it's interesting. She announced it was a very well attended ceremony. And I like the way she started saying where she comes from and giving her roots out clearly. It was very well done. Just one word of advice: be careful with woke. It could be a turnoff even for
Oh,
Democrats. So,
yeah. Good
so
point.
with that in mind, go for it. And those of you who are thinking about it, you have a very hard person to beat, a very competent person to beat, and a very well liked person to beat. So think about that. Uh, Also, you're going to have Orange County Mayor. You might want to join that race, which already has, that I know of, 5 people, and maybe 6 by the end of the week. But
Correct.
other than that, I don't know if anybody of consequence who's running for the city of Orlando mayor, but I wouldn't be surprised that other people join. As a matter of fact, I would be surprised if nobody joins. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's going to be an interesting race. And and Buddy Ty was thinking about not running. No, Buddy, you might want to make it official. It's time
Indeed,
to. It's
It,
time to pass the
the,
baton to somebody else.
the next several election cycles are going to be very interesting. You're seeing two titans of politics. Um, one term out, the other possibly retiring from the mayor's office in Orlando. Uh, so this is going to be a fascinating time. The shift of Orange County, Orange County politics will definitely move in the direction that will determine at least the next generation, in my belief, the next generation of politics here in Orange County. Like you said, Jimmy, there are going to be more people who will file for both the Orlando City mayor's race and also the Orange County mayor's race with Mayor Demings um, termed out at the end of 2026. I saw Mayor Demings. There was a celebration of Black History at the Citrus Club on Wednesday, and I was there in the crowd. And he was the honored, the featured speaker. And one thing about Mayor Demings, he's very charming when, yeah, he's on the stage and very engaging when he's talking to people. And he gave a little bit about his history, about how he was mentored by a gentleman by the name of Mr. Parnell, if I remember correctly, who was in the audience. And he gave a very good speech. And I hate to call it a speech because it was more like a conversation he was having with us. And he actually took questions at the end of his speech. However, what was really curious, Jimmy, and when I listen, especially when I have my political hat on, I listen very carefully. And he spoke, about himself and learned a few more things about his history that I did not know about, like his mentorship by Mr. Cornell. But the second half, and I'm going to say the majority of his speech was about his wife, former U.S. Congresswoman Val Demings. And I was sitting there and I kind of looked over to my host who asked me to attend this luncheon, Ted Bogert. And I looked at him kind of curious and said later, it's like, it really sounded like Mayor Demings was auditioning or promoting his wife for another elected office. And I don't know what his future is. Maybe he will run for governor because right now, if he runs as a Democrat, the Democrats need a heavy hitter like Mayor Demings with a storied history as his. Although his wife, and again, it seemed like a promotional speech, a stump speech for his wife. I believe she's coming back to politics, and perhaps we will see her in the run for Orange County mayor or even Orlando mayor. What do you think?
Well, I think that she has a better chance of winning, and this is going to sound strange, Orange County than she does for City of Orlando. City of
Mhm.
Orlando, two women running, the woman factor becomes, but she would be running against the machinery of the local party. I can't see the local party really staying out of that race, and they would probably be between now and then be committed to Anna. And I don't see them. Well, sometimes they do, but I don't see most of them saying, "Okay, I'm jumping out." The other thing that is kind of interesting is do the Demis want to be at the same time running for office and splitting it up. She running down here and him running statewide. That would be because it's expected that if you're running, your spouse is there with you at your campaign issues, but she's not going to be because she's running down here, and he's not going to be because he's running statewide. And that it will be an interesting race to see that uh, two African American males running for governor of the state of Florida, one as a Republican and one as a Democrat, and see how that comes out at the end of the day, uh, because it would be interesting. Even though right now we do know, and this is the part that I take exception with my party. We know that Byron Donald is running, and he went and got the endorsement of the crazy one, and so he's that. We know that DeSantis is pushing his wife, and we know that the Secretary of Agriculture is thinking of running too. So we know at least they have three candidates. Right now, we have one rumor candidate, three people who are saying they are thinking about it, but we are, to be blunt, less than 10 months away from when you need to organize a campaign. So in August of 26, you win the primary, because you're probably gonna have to go to primary, so you can run the primary. So you're talking, I need to be ready in exactly 18 months to win a primary. Statewide, 18 months might not be enough. You need to do alliances with South Florida, North Florida, Jacksonville, Tampa, So it's
Right.
like this, and this is the mentality at times I don't understand my party, is that we're going to go out, we're going to get the best candidate, and we're going to waste money on TV, and we're going to win. That's not politics. That is craziness. The way you win these races, you go out, you make alliances, you get the people from Tampa to support you, you get the people from Palm Beach to support you, the people from Miami, and create alliances. But at this point, nobody knows who's running, and much less nobody's working an alliance and trying to do things. I mean, nobody's gone and I'll take my example. Nobody's gone to the Orange County DC and say, "Hey, I'm running for governor. Can I count it? Hey, I'm running for attorney general. Can I count for you?" And by the way, in 26, there's a race that Democrats should consider.
What's that, Jimmy?
U.S. Senate is not an incumbent. U.S.
That's
Senate
correct.
is not an incumbent. The Republicans are going to fight it out between DeSantis and some other people who want that seat. Basically, at this point, we're not running against an incumbent. So if we get somebody who's good and with some people who know how to run a campaign, we might have a shot. Because at the end of the day, my opinion is that the Republican candidate is going to be weak. He's going to be coming out in August, and some of the people, Republicans who lost, are going to be pissed off with him. And are they going to be convinced by November to vote for that person? That's a good question. So it is a vulnerable seat. So it's time that we think about. But again, the Florida Democratic Party is disorganized and doing nothing. Nikki came out yesterday criticizing Byron. Hey, that's their candidate. Find yours to beat that person. You're not going to
Damn
win
good point.
by criticizing.
That's a damn good point, Jimmy. It's a whole lot that you just put out there, Jimmy. A whole lot.
I like to put
First
out
of
a
all,
lot. Ah,
I mean, and we could do an episode alone, just one episode on the Valdemings and Escamani dynamic. There's so many different avenues to approach that that particular matchup. Let's put it that way. Particular matchup. However, you just and then of course you brought up the governor's race and preparing for a governor's race. You're right. It will be up in 2026. And if someone is running for governor on the Democrat side, they need to get it together. I think Walton Simpson, who is the agriculture commissioner, was being considered to run for governor. But however, I do believe he's running for um, Congress to replace, drum roll, U.S. Congressman Matt Gaetz on April 1st in that special election. Again, if a Democrat's going to throw his or her hat into the ring for governor, they need to do it now, particularly with these legislative sessions starting in the next week. So, yeah, yeah, folks need to get on it. But one of the more interesting things you said is the U.S. Senate race, the race for former Senator Marco Rubio's seat that is now occupied by former Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody. Now, I always thought that it would have been a very wise political maneuver by DeSantis to appoint himself to that seat. I don't get it. I wouldn't want to deal with the headache of being governor and dealing with the legislature and and everything else, particularly after the whole immigration bill problem that he had with the in the special session. I was like, the hell with that. I'll make myself senator and I'll be there forever. So I was very shocked that he did appoint Ashley Moody. And there are Republicans who have publicly announced and are privately discussing running for the Republican nomination for that senatorial seat. Um, Ashley Moody's not a sure thing. She has filed for it. She has made it clear that she wants to stay in that seat. Um, wow. I just think that it was a missed
He did
opportunity.
not. He did not appoint himself, as I've been told, because he wanted to stay as governor and pass the baton to his wife. He thought that everybody would be in agreement with that, and everything would be smooth and things like that. Donald Trump betrayed him and said, "Hey, screw you! I'm going to go with Byron," and that's his right. I'm not saying he doesn't have that right. I know he did that,
Yeah.
but DeSantis was counting on Donald saying, "Oh yes, I'll endorse your wife." That has not happened, and it's not going to happen because he's already endorsed somebody else. Uh, the other thing is that basically at this point, DeSantis wants to run for president again,
Yes.
28. So basically, what he's trying to do is have his wife as governor and keep himself relevant and go from there. As a matter of fact, there's a joke in Tallahassee, okay? And I call it a joke because there's no fundamental, but this is the joke.
Okay.
He runs as governor. She appoints him as her vice governor. They get elected. Most of the functions are handled by him, and he maintains control of the state of Florida. That's the joke in Tallahassee. I'm not saying that this is true. There's nothing illegal of her saying, "Oh, I want my husband as my vice governor," which would be interesting because the Republicans would have to decide what do they want better: the first white woman governor, or the first black governor. And that's one that I would let the local Republicans decide which one. But he has decided that that's what he wants to do. But he wants again to run for president. I don't think he realizes that he can't get that core of the Trump people. For that matter, neither can Vance. And the only person who could probably get them cannot run for president because the law forbids him from doing so.
Unless he changes the law or just ignores it.
Well, no, I'm not talking about Trump.
Oh,
There's the
really?
MAGAs who don't really follow Vance.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Vance is there as a figurehead. He's really hasn't done much other than going to Europe for briefly.
Right.
He, he the person that the MAGA people will follow cannot run for president.
And who would that be? Wait, let me. They can. That person cannot run for president. Um, I would think it would be someone who had been president before.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Oh, it would have to be someone who's a foreigner,
Bingo.
and that would be think, David. Think, David. If I had a Tesla, it would be right there in front of me. That would be Elon
No,
Musk.
the people from
Wow.
MAGA love him, but he was born in South Africa. He is a naturalized citizen, but he cannot run
Correct.
for president. The same problem that our dear friend Arnold Schwarzenegger had. He cannot run for president.
That's correct.
Neither can Elon Musk. So it's going to be an interesting thing how these things work out. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to go with the fact that the MAGA people do not really like Vance. They really don't like. He tried and he couldn't get the MAGA people DeSantis. So and as a matter of fact, DeSantis got elected because Trump put his support behind him, but he's not
That's
a great
correct.
campaigner. Okay, he really is not a great campaigner. He is as flat as a campaigner could be, as non-simpatico to the general public, and when things come out of his mouth, stupid and moronic things follow. So basically, he's not a great campaigner. I've never seen his wife, and that's going to be a challenge. I knew she used to do the news, but that doesn't mean that you're a great speaker. That means you could follow a script. So that is kind of different. And maybe they put a good script in front of her and she could follow it. Yeah, but in a
Mhm.
debate, she will be horrible. So
And
it's going to be. But then again, the Democrats don't. We don't have anybody that we can say, "Wow, that person can do." I mean, last time around, who did we have? Yeah, you're right. We had a former Republican slash now I'm a Democrat, and most of us consider him a Dino. Uh, so we
yeah,
can't get anybody of quality. So let's see. We need
I
something
think
crazy like Trump who go out there and say I'm a Democrat and screw you and screw this and maybe that might help us.
I think
Maybe.
the Democrats, to get back on the board, would have to enlist a star personality, like John Cena, or I know Tom Brady. I believe is a conservative, so much for that. Uh, I know John Morgan will run as an independent, allegedly. Uh, I really don't see the Democrats preparing themselves, for the 2026 gubernatorial race.
Well,
If there's no conversation, if there's no one right now having that conversation the with Florida voters about alternatives to the Florida version of Doge, to DeSantis's immigration policies, to a lack of a property insurance solution, things like that. That conversation should be going on now, and the only one who, for all purposes, is having that conversation is the FDP reelected chair, Nikki Fried.
well, and us.
In us,
And
yes.
because we've been
Now,
having this conversation for months. As a matter of fact, I would like to joke about it, but some people think that is the background of this podcast. And to a certain degree, I'm not going to deny it. We've been carrying out the voice of what they need to do, when it's
yeah,
to get our candidates, what's going
yeah,
on. And Nikki is doing a media good job, and I'm going to call it media. Has she recruited anybody? Not really. Has she got
right.
any funding? Not really.
No.
Has she have any uh, company, consultant company who's going to come in and run a statewide campaign? Not really.
No, no.
So, other than saying that Byron is not the right candidate for the Republicans, you're like, yeah, we're going to get Nikki to endorse a Republican. That's not going to happen. So, really, if that's what you're saying, well, look what you did, really. What did you expect her to do? Really? To come back and say, hey, he's a great candidate. I could work with this guy? No. She's the chair of the Democratic Party, and whoever they run, she's going to criticize, as she should, and that's what she's being paid to do. But again, what do we have? Who's running for the Senate? Who's running for Attorney General? Who's running for agriculture? Who's running for financial? We don't have those people. The Democrats do not recruit; their candidates fall on their lap. Republicans recruit. Sometimes
Yes,
they
they
talk
do.
about themselves, but basically Byron came because Trump said, I need you to run for governor, and I'll endorse you, and I'll help you, and I have my people down in Florida help with your campaign. Yeah, that's called recruiting. Who has Nikki recruited? Nobody. She's hoping
But
that the Demings fall in place, and that Demings raise his own money, and then Demings runs his own campaign, and Demings does everything, and then when he wins, she gets the glory. And when he loses,
exactly.
she gets nothing because she can say, I didn't have nothing to do with that campaign. I had nothing to
Yes.
do with that campaign. That was run by the Demings, just like she did recently with the last loss. That was her exact words. So basically, in the loss of the Senate rate, she did the same thing. So basically, at this point, she should be recruiting for House, Senate. She should be recruiting for Attorney General, for CFF, agriculture, and so on. She should be recruiting these people, but she's not doing anything. She's just waiting for these candidates to fall in her lap, and once the primary is over in August, to go out and help campaign for them. And after August, it's too late.
That's
Uh,
right.
it's too late.
It's
One of the
way
things
too late.
I admire when I was a secretary, the previous chairs went and sat down with two people and said, look, you are just going to make this unnecessary long primary. Can you please get out of the race and let this person who's the strongest candidate, the one with the most money, the one with the most backing in the House and Senate of Florida and of U.S. representatives, and back then even Bill Nelson, who was a senator, can you just get out of the race? She did that, and she was
Mhm.
chastised by some members of my party for doing that. But I understand where she was coming from. We did not need a long, prolonged fight among ourselves to come out at that. And basically, what she did is she put one, convinced him to run instead of for Senate, to run for Attorney General, and the other one to run for agriculture. And basically, we in our lab fell that the CFF that then win. Of all those people, the one who fell in our lap was the one who won. This the party needs to work as a well organized, go out and recruit and say to the people, look, you might want to be attorney general. Hey, you might want to be secretary of agriculture. Might want to be CFF, and put them in other races right now. As a matter of fact, who are we going to be recruiting to replace Byron? Byron's out. Right now,
That's
we
right.
know he's out. Go find somebody to run in that district.
That's right. That's right.
No, if it falls in
And
our lap,
it should be happening now. You're right, Jimmy. If Representative Daniels is running for governor right now, a champion for the Democrats should present themselves. Uh, we here at JW predicted back in 2023. I pulled the video, and on the day that he officially announced, or when President Trump endorsed him on Twitter, I reposted that video and I saw at that time in 2023 that yeah, Representative Dan Donalds, that's the guy for the Republicans, and the Democrats need to prepare for that. And I don't know, for our distractors, they have to understand that we're not just blowing smoke. This is information that we have, that you and I, Jimmy, have, based on, of course, our knowledge of the political scene and experience. And so, if we're able to see these things, I'm hoping that the Democrats would, and Republicans will take this information and use accordingly. However, it's disappointing, and I sometimes think to myself, why are things the way they are with the Democratic Party here in Florida? I like a competitive fight between, candidates, between parties, mostly between the candidates, because I'm tired of the parties. However, when one party is not up to the task, it, it appears to me that it's by design. And it is disheartening that there are so many staunch Democrats who will go to the line for this party and will continue to be disappointed again and again and again. I just don't see the Democrats becoming relevant after this election cycle. Maybe, maybe I'm wrong. However, the history gives me a good indicator of what the future will look like.
Well, you're not wrong, and you're right. The way the Florida Democratic Party is built now, it wasn't this way before. Okay,
Yeah.
in the past, the Florida Democratic Party was here to recruit, it was here to assist, it was here to unite, and basically, when you had, and I'll give you an example. I remember my first committee man and committee woman meeting. And basically, at that point, we were working out who was going to be secretary, who was going to be treasurer, who was going to be this, and who was going to be that, and how we could, in the priorities of the party. Basically, the party had certain control. What
Mhm.
happened in the early 2000s was, hey, we need to let the House run their thing. We need to let the Senate run their thing. And basically, Bill Nelson said, no, no, Democratic Party, I'm going to run my race my way, and I'm going to run it trying to get Republican votes, and I'm going to try to do it this way. And I'm a centrist. I don't want anything liberal, and I don't want any of you guys who are liberals in my campaign. And we basically started to take away the function of the party. Look, you're running for a house, you have to go to House Victory. They control the money, they control the purse. You're running for the Senate, they control the money, they control the purse. You're running for statewide positions. This the way that the new rules say is that the chairman is to stay back and is to come and assist the official candidates in August. That's stupid. That's moronic, and it has no basis whatsoever. The other thing that I've had problems with is I said, look, state party, what are you doing? If I can send for you to send out mailers and you charge me for that. You don't help me. You charge me for that. You make money of that. If I want to use the van, which is not the best, you charge me for that.
That's right.
You don't help me. If I want to do certain things, I got to get your permission. Really? No. You should be supporting candidates. You should be recruiting candidates. Say, this is our candidate for attorney general. This is our candidate for CFF. This is our candidate for agriculture, and so on and so on. Right now, there is nothing that the state party does. As a matter of fact, even worse, they try to use the word that always sounds so nice. We're decentralizing the party, and we're leaving it up to the counties to run their local races and to help with the statewide elections. I hate to say this, there's only 9 counties that could do that out of 67. Okay, the small
Yeah.
counties do not have the resources at all, at all. Uh, some counties are so Republican that the Democrats are a joke. You have the reverse in Orange County. This is a Democratic county, and there's no county commissioners that are Republicans. Well, there's one, but she's gone next year. Uh, the truth of the matter is, this is, by all stretch of the imagination. This is something that has made the party weak. It has made it weak, and it was done by design. But they used the magic words. We're going to decentralize the power. We're going to take away the power from Tallahassee and put it in the hands of the local parties. No, no. Basically, Henry County might need Tallahassee to help them. Orange
Yeah.
County may not, and I agree.
Correct.
But then, what are you going to do? That's why we used to win the 9 big counties, and we lost Miami. Why? Because basically, you let Miami run itself, and it runs itself to the ground. So yes, it needs to be a strong party, a party that helps, a party that controls, that will go in and take over if it needs to take over, to come up with a candidate and say, this is our guy for Senate, this is our guy for governor, this is our.
Yes.
And basically, how has the Republican won the last 5 elections? By staying strong. We are not strong. We try to be polite. We try to be politically correct. We try not to be offensive. We try not to use words that might turn off people. What, what,
Right.
what are you talking about? Do you want anybody more arrogant than Donald Trump? Do you want anybody who comes out and says harsh things about people than Donald Trump? And he is more popular than any of our candidates. Think of this. Do the American people really want you to call Donald Trump weird? He's not weird. He's crazy. Okay, call him like it is. Do you want to say that they're fascists? They're not fascists. They are rich people who are lying to you to take money out of your pocket and to take over your lives. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. But yeah, that's what we should be saying. But no, 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 no. That's kind of offensive, and that's not our style. When they go high, we go. When they go low, we go high. No, when they go low, we go lower. Call out. There's a thing on the internet as to last year, Donald Trump celebrated his birthday with one of his attorneys. It is true, but nobody talks about that. I would. Donald Trump is not the most reliable source. Say it.
That's true.
The only
All right.
person who has the fuck up of the week, that's me. Everybody else is like, well, I'll take a swing at something major. Well, this week, something major came up and you didn't take a swing at it. Okay,
Oh.
so, yeah. Oh, yeah, they didn't.
Uh
Oh,
oh.
no, 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 no. No, 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 no,
Uh oh, Jimmy.
no. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Do you want me to go to the fuck of the week? I can.
Hey, now is no better time. Let's
Oh,
hear it. Whoa, maybe. Hey,
the
if
fuck of the
I
week.
missed something, I need to know.
The fuck of the week is the following: the Republicans passed in the House a budget that Donald Trump says is a beautiful budget. It is great.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So let's talk about 4 points of this budget. One, they decrease the taxes of the richer 5 times more than of the middle class. Okay, that's a given. They will take in $2.3 trillion less a year. So
Yep.
to sell it, the fiscal people had to come up with something they could do. Now, let me clarify to the American people that 86% of the US budget can't be touched. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why would he say that? That is defense. They're not gonna reduce defense. The contractors have everybody in their pocket, including one of them happens to be Elon Musk, so he's not gonna let it be touched. Second thing, believe it or not, is Social Security. You touch Social Security, you're going down. Third thing is Medicare. Now, the fourth thing that is part of that 86%, these morons in the House decide to touch. And this is the fuck up of the week.
All right.
In that budget, there's $880 billion in reduction to Medicare. I mean Medicaid, excuse me, not Medicare, Medicaid. Now you're gonna say, well, what's the big deal? Who cares? Well, disabled children are on Medicaid. Disabled adults are on Medicaid. Well, what do you mean by this? Disabled adults? Don't they get Medicare? No, no, no. I'm talking about those adults who never worked because they're missing two arms, two legs, or they were born with a learning disability that prevents them from being able to even communicate in a correct way, or people who are blind, who are deaf, and were born that way and cannot do. They get SSI and Medicaid. Then you have those who have not worked because they were housewives and they never qualified for Medicare. But once they turn 65, they can get Medicaid care if they pay $189 a month. They don't have that money, so they're Medicaid. Medicaid is for operations of people who really don't, their health insurance doesn't cover them, or they're without health insurance because they can't get health insurance because simply Medicaid pays for this. Medicaid pays for emergency rooms appearances of people who go into emergency rooms. They cannot pay, but they cannot be rejected. So when who covers that is Medicaid. So
Right.
when you cut out 880 billion, that means that you're going to be cutting out 20% of the Medicaid budget. So every state, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands are going to get 20% less. So the hospital is going to get 20% less. How are we going to cover that? And say to them that if somebody comes into the emergency room, you cannot reject it, but there's no money to pay you with it. A disabled child needs therapy. We just cut out therapy, so there's no therapy for a disabled child. We have a person in a nursing home who is a senior who needs to be taken care of, who never really worked their whole life, who's on Medicaid. Well, no, Medicaid's not going to pay for your care there, so we're going to throw you out on the street. These are the things that is what I call the fuck up of the week. You're not messing with whom you need to mess. You're messing with the wrong people. You're talking about every state having 20% less money to deal with their ill.
Yeah.
Who's going to cover that? The states? They're to the brink of they cannot afford anymore. And 90% of the states do not, different from the U.S. budget, they cannot just pull money and print it. They have
Correct.
now they have to have it. Second of all, you are trying to say we are going to cut into other matters other than Medicaid that are services. What are you going to cut into? Head Start? Go for it. What are you going to
For
cut
sure.
into? Oh, we're going to cut money off the Department of Education. Sure. Kids with disabilities, learning disability, programs for, let's take one that they might be cutting. Programs of taking care of kids after 3 o'clock, what is called extended day, might be cut off. That comes mostly from the federal government. And who uses that? Single moms who happen to get out at 5 o'clock. So
Yeah.
the federal government pays for them for 3 hours up to 6 when they could come and pick up their kid. That's going to be eliminated. Well, I want to see how these people can work. It's the thing is we're going to reduce the taxes of the rich, and in order to do that, we're going to take away services from Medicaid, from extended day, and from the U.S. people, just so the billionaires and the rich can keep more money in their pocket. That is that budget that just came out. That is where we have a problem. Look, 86% of the U.S. budget is Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, and defense. That leaves you with 14%. If you were to eliminate that 14%, we will still be in a deficit. Why? Because
Right.
we waste money in defense. We know that. We don't care.
Right.
We're the strongest country in the world. We have more tanks and guns than anybody else. Not true anymore. That is BS that we've been told. China has more tanks than we do, has more planes than we do, has more ships than we do. They do. Why? Because they're a communist country and they just say, we're going to make 20 ships. Okay. Nobody challenges them. And their chips are made at cost, not ours, in which
That's right.
we pay 200 times more than what it's worth because we have to help the
The
defense industry
contract.
who overcharges us. So
Right.
basically, at this point, this budget is coming up with cuts for the middle class and for the poor. If that's not the deserving of the fuck up of the week, I don't know what is. And with all due respect, President Trump, you have taken my country and sold us a bag of bullshit. You are surrounded by billionaires who you proud and protect. You have put a billionaire in charge of cutting federal employees to give the impression that we're going to save money and that this
Mhm.
money we're going to be able to use to balance the budget. This is not a balanced budget. This is a budget that creates a deficit of 2.3 trillion this year, next year, and every year after that. You're not balancing the budget. Let me give this to you, ladies and gentlemen, in simple English. Government's going to make less money, but it still have to provide the same quality of services, and that is where deficits come. Yeah, they come that you overspend from what you do, and that is because for years we throw in loopholes for companies like the one of Jeff Bezos and the companies of Mr. Elon Musk, so they don't pay taxes. So there's billions and billions of dollars that, of income that don't pay taxes. Or in the case of Social Security, your first 168,000 you pay taxes on. Everything and above that, you pay zero taxes of Social Security for that. And that's why there's a problem with Social Security because it was based on everybody being equal, but it's not.
Right.
Because the rich and the billionaires have controlled Donald Trump and they're screwing you. But I have nothing more.
Jimmy, again, it just seems like this is all by design, that the conservatives are forging a, as they've stated, a new, a golden age, forging a new society, and not just the reduction in government, the shrinking of government, a budget that favors heavily, or a budget resolution that favors heavily for tax cuts. How how are the Democrats messaging this, their concerns? Because after what you just told me, it sounds like common sense. You explain this clearly, and you're the first to make it sound very simple for the everyday constituent to understand. And I haven't heard this from the, Maxwell Frosses or the Jasmine Crockett's, or the AOC's, or the Chuck Schumers or the Nancy Pelosi. Is she still in office? Or the Hakeem Jeffrey. Where is that consistent message from a leader, one leader in the Democratic Party?
It's not because they're wrapped in what I call the Washington way of thinking. Washington way
Mhm.
of thinking is I don't want to bring up certain things because they're going to say that all we care about is certain people. Uh, they don't know
Americans.
how to sell it or how to say, look, this is bullshit. These are kids who are going to be affected. These are single moms who are going to be affected. These are people who are in hospitals and hospices and in daycare and senior centers. They don't care about it. They cannot conceptualize this. In their mind, they're afraid to say, look, yeah, you're right. We need to balance the budget. And if we have to fuck you people, well, we fuck you people. They don't know how to say, hey, this is going to benefit the rich. And maybe it's because they're afraid to piss off the rich. Because the only one who's trying to say this in a brief way is called Bernie Sanders. But Bernie is known to be a radical to the left and this and that. And we cannot look. His message in 2016 to our country was we need to stop this 1%. They're screwing our country. They're screwing us out of everything. They're taking control of our government. He said it in 16, and 8 years later, it is true. Look, people, Donald Trump surrounds himself with the rich and the billionaires. He doesn't have a poor person or common sense person in his cabinet. He doesn't, because he only cares about the rich. What is he thinking about? Making money by creating a beach resort in Gaza. Is he thinking about helping the people here with the cost of food, with the cost of eggs, with the cost of gasoline, with the cost of cars, or anything else? No. He cares about making himself some money by creating a resort in Gaza. Who cares about that? He does. Why? Because he wants money in his pocket. He has not come up with a solution to the increase of prices of beef, with the increase of price of chicken. He has not come up with the increase of prices in eggs. All the idiots could do, and his governor, well, that was Biden. Look, you've been in office for over 1 month. Assume responsibility and grow a pair. But what do we keep hearing our leaders? Jeffries, now you want to bring up Jeffries? He compared everything to the baseball player Judge, and he will take a swing. I don't think he knows how to communicate in simple English to the people. I don't think they're capable. They don't know how to communicate. I'm sorry. It is not that difficult. Maxwell does, but Maxwell has a problem that because he's the junior person and because he's been pushed aside. AOC, we know that. So basically, at this point, the leadership who might do it, they don't want to because they're afraid that they'll take over their role as leaders. Of what? I'm not sure. But realistically, this budget will take away your kid's benefits if he needs any Medicaid. It will take away your extended day benefits. It will take away your benefits to Head Start. It will take away benefits for special education programs that your kids might need, for your 904, for all these other things. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They care about making the richer rich at the expense of the poor being poor. Simple English. If you can't get that one out, Jeffries, if you can't get that one out, Pelosi, if you can't get that one out, Schumer, that's on you. Simple. It's not simple math. You take less money in by giving tax break to the rich, then you're going to create a deficit. So this they've been criticizing Democrats of creating deficit. No. The biggest deficits that have ever been created by Donald Trump and by the Republican Party.
Jimmy, it seems like the Democrats' saving grace would come from those Republican senators who have difficulty with the House Republican version of the budget, and that it differs from the Senate version of a budget they would like to present. Uh, are we looking at Republicans coming to save Democrats and their constituents in this conversation over the
No,
budget?
no. And let me tell you why.
All right.
The Senate people might talk a good talk, but at the end of the day, just like every other Republican, Donald Trump said, shut up. That's the budget. They shut up, and that's the budget. Sorry.
That's true.
They have no pairs between their legs, none of them. They have
Thank you.
no uh, spinal cord. Whatever Donald Trump says, they'll do. Donald Trump wants this not because he doesn't care about the Medicaid part of it. He doesn't care about anything else. He cares that he could go to his constituents and do what he did 4 years ago and say, I gave you a great tax cut to all you rich people. You're my people. You are going to be richer, and the poor are going to be poorer. And screw it, I don't care.
Mhm.
Look, he believes in that the strong shall survive.
Yes, he does.
The strong are the rich, and you and me are the middle class. Screw you guys. So
Yeah.
basically, at this point, very simple. This new budget will make the rich are rich, the poor are poor, and take away your health, take away your kids' education, and take away your safety. Okay? Because even though they're going to spend billions of dollars on building a wall, we know that's not going to happen. It's going to end in that money, and the contractors that they're going to hire, they're going to steal the money and never build the wall.
Right. As we wrap up, Jimmy, I just want to bring this topic up.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about this prior to recording. And we talked about President Trump perhaps running again and maybe being successful in a third term for a president. Now, currently, the Trump administration is arguing or will argue in front of the Supreme Court that the president in this theory of the unitary executive presidency, I hope I said that correctly, and also in the um, role in what's the word I'm looking for? The Supreme Court allowing extended executive privileges or powers under the second, the Article 2 of the Constitution. But back to what I was saying, the administration is arguing or will argue in front of the Supreme Court that the president can ignore an opinion by the Supreme Court on their interpretation of the law and move in a way that is in the best interest of the executive branch of the president. Your thoughts as an attorney and as a political and a scholar in
Technically, that is correct, but this is not a matter of an opinion. The U.S. Constitution has a proviso that says that the president can only be president for 2 terms. It doesn't even say that they have to be consecutive. Just for the record, it doesn't say consecutive. 2 terms. They leave it at that.
correct.
This will be a second term. That's not a matter of an opinion of the Supreme Court. That is a matter that the Supreme Court would have to enforce the Constitution. He does not have the right to say, well, I'm the president, and under the president, I can do whatever I damn please, and I can ignore your opinion of it. No, this is not a matter of opinion. That is what the Constitution says. That's like saying that, well, the Constitution says that they, we can that the states have these rights, but I'm going to take away the rights from the states, and I'm going to say I'm the king of here, and whatever I say goes. That would be against the Constitution. So basically, at this point, they could argue whatever they want about opinions. This would not be an opinion. And let me put it this way: the attorneys who are arguing these cases, they're morons. But call them out. They're morons. And for the record, just for everybody to know, so if you're going to claim, well, who is this person? I am a member of the United States Supreme Court, and I'm one of the few attorneys who can argue a case in front of the United States Supreme Court. So I do know a little bit about the Constitution. So I'm not trying to brag, but just in case people say, who is this person? I do. I'm a member of the United States Supreme Court, and I can argue a case in front of it. Here is where it becomes interesting. You have to understand that this presidency is not about doing things, it's about creating the illusion that they're doing things. This is the 4th week of his presidency. We have not heard since week 1 any reports of deportations. Zero. And for the record, the numbers that are being published is about 300 more than what Biden was, but it's very short compared to Obama. He's not even close to Obama.
That's true.
So, if you want to talk about chief deporter, that was Obama. That was not
That's correct.
Trump in his days, nor was it now. So, with all due respect to everybody, good luck. You could have tried to take a person at his word. And last but not least, think of
Yes,
it.
sir.
How much can you trust anything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth? I don't trust anything that comes out of his mouth. He is the liar in chief. There's never been a politician, in my opinion, that lies more than he does. None. Zero.
I like to say, don't listen to what he says. Look how he moves and the people around him. That's how you figure out Donald Trump.
Correct. We agree on that point. Okay.
All right.
So with that,
All
we
right.
can end this week. And I'm going to say, because I couldn't say it last week, please, please, pretty please, subscribe, like, make a comment, good, bad, or indifferent, and watch the little plugs that we put in out there and comment on those too. So
Yes.
until next week, I am signing off, and I will see you all. Take care, and remember these words: blind trust is foolish trust. Thank you.
All right, Jimmy. See you next week.
Okay.